Hello and welcome. My name's Nigel Kippax from Getting On Board, and today we're going to look at the questions that trustees should ask. And at Getting On Board, we focus on increasing the diversity of charity boards, on changing the face of charity trusteeship, and bringing new faces in can be an enormous benefit to decisions taken at board level. But being new, however, also brings challenges of fitting in and making a contribution. So for anyone embarking on their journey of charity trusteeship, asking the right questions is really important. And you could argue that getting answers to your questions is even more important. So what are the questions that trustees should ask? Stepping up to take your first trustee role can be daunting. We all want to make a good impression, to show we're keen, to demonstrate our willingness to learn and contribute to the way the charity board operates. We want to ask questions, but perhaps not too many questions too soon. Now, I remember reading a really good book by Marcus Buckingham, which was titled First Break All the Rules. You may have read it. It focused on talent development, and particularly on talent retention in the corporate sector. And it looked at the questions that new employees need answers to, which is all very interesting. But the enlightenment for me came for me with the clarification that the questions we have on day one in a new role are quite different to the questions we have a year later. And that got me thinking about the journey, my own journey of trusteeship, and the questions I asked, or more commonly, the questions I wish I'd asked. It would have been really easy to provide a long list of questions that all trustees must ask. Indeed, these lists are available. Personally, these long lists risk putting me to sleep by even losing the will to be a trustee at all. What I needed was to understand not just the right questions, but when to ask those questions. I was on a journey, and some of the questions really didn't need to be asked until much later. So, insight from Buckingham's book was really helpful, and I ended up considering the right questions for trustees to ask in 4 categories. You may find these helpful. If you do, then that's great. The first category was questions to ask during what I term recruitment and selection. What you should ask before you accept a trustee role, your due diligence on that charity. Questions about the structure of the charity, the skills they are seeking. That would help you understand what your contributions might be on the board. I also feel it's worth revisiting the core personal question of why do I want to be a trustee? It may sound obvious, but checking a real motivation for trusteeship is always a good idea. Once you're in post, there are questions to ask during induction. So second category is induction. Once you're in post, you're likely to experience a honeymoon period where you feel okay asking any question. Make sure you've read the charity's objects and understand who the charity's beneficiaries are. Ask about the charity's finance at a high level. Where does the money come from and how much is there? Where does the money go and is there enough? Simple questions, but now's the time to ask them. Understand how decisions are taken within the board. The third category relates to once you're been in post for maybe 2 or 3 months, and it's questions around current operations. Do we understand the risks to the charity? Do we understand when we should be taking risks, not just mitigating and avoiding risks? Do we really understand the impact the charity is having? And finally, the final group of questions I had were around improvement and change. So how will the charity be different by the end of my tenure as a trustee? Does the board seek to improve the way it works using, for example, a board review? How much time does the board spend building personal relationships? Is there a budget for trustee development? Our understanding of the trustee role will develop over time. The questions we need to answer will also change. Asking the right questions at the right time is going to help everybody, and it'll also help people that come onto the board after you and fill in those vacancies. Good luck. I hope you ask all the questions you need answers to. If you want to know more about the work of Getting On Board, please visit the website gettingonboard.org. And thank you for your time.